Thank you. Congressman Kucinich, do you think one can be against the war and yet still fund it?
No. I think it's inconsistent to tell the American people that you oppose the war and yet you continue to vote to fund the war, because every time you vote to fund the war, you're reauthorizing the war all over again. As a matter of fact, my good friends here from the Senate just came back from Washington, D.C., where they voted to continue funding the war. The Democrats have the power to end the war right now, and that's what we should do. We're under no obligation to give George Bush any money at all. The money's in the pipeline to bring the troops home. And that's exactly what ought to be done at this moment. I have a plan, H.R. 1234, a plan to end the war in Iraq, which calls on the international community to provide peacekeepers and security forces that will move in as our troops leave. But we can't do that until we determine we're going to end the occupation. And we will do that when we stop the funding. Furthermore, I don't think that it's sufficient to say that if we had the information at the beginning that we would have voted differently. That information was available to everyone. And if you made the wrong choice, we're auditioning here for President of the United States. People have to see who had the judgment and the wisdom not to go to war in the first place. And I made the choice not to go to war.
Governor Richardson, if you were representing
for experience in this country that allows us to go forward, create jobs, and create prosperity for this 21st century.
Senator Dodd, thank you. Congressman Kucinich, you were anti-war before the anti-war position started surging in the polls. The question is, why don't you think you have more traction politically in the United States?
Well, I think tonight's debate is going to help change that, Brian, because I think when people understand not only that I oppose the war from the start, but I oppose the idea of using war as a matter of policy. I don't think it reflects America's greatness. And I also think that, you know, this process, this is an American Idol here. We're choosing a president. And we have to look at the audition that occurred in 2003 when my good friends were called upon to make a decision and they made the wrong decision. And apologies aren't enough, because we've had 3,333 Americans die, perhaps as many as over 650,000 innocent Iraqis die. People are looking for a president who has the wisdom to make the right choices about America's security and who also has the integrity to be able to take a stand that may be unpopular. And so I think that when people see that this campaign comes from a place of the heart and wants to reconnect with the world, I think they'll be ready to support it.
Congressman Kucinich, Senator, thank you. Congressman Kucinich, same question. Would you ask a litmus test Roe versus Wade question of High Court nominee?
Any of my appointments to the High Court would necessarily reflect my thinking. I don't know how it could be otherwise. I intend to be a president who's a healer, who understands that this country has been put in a debate that has torn it apart. But the truth of the matter is, it's possible, I believe, to take a course of action where you can get all the people of America in support of a culture of life which includes prenatal care, postnatal care, child care, universal health care, a living wage, all those things that give support to life. And we also need to listen carefully to those who are concerned about abortion. At the same time, a healer as president will help reconcile this nation and cause a woman's right to privacy to be protected unquestioningly, protect Roe v. Wade, but also go out and listen to people and engage people and open up hearts, because this is an issue that requires an enormous amount of compassion. And that's the approach I would take.
Congressman, thank you. Senator, because our producers are learning about the consumption of time, we have our first show of hands question tonight. How many of you in your adult lifetime have had a gun in the house? One. Senator Gravel, Senator Biden, Senator Dodd, Governor Richardson, Congressman Kucinich. Thank you very much.
A short answer question, one sentence, and I'm going to ask each of you, beginning with Senator Gravel. This is from Paula in Conway, South Carolina. What is the most significant political or professional mistake you have made in the past 4 years, and what, if anything, did you learn from this mistake which makes you a better candidate?
Well, you know, I know you set a time frame on this, but the thing that immediately comes to mind is when I was mayor of Cleveland on Good Friday, I fired the police chief live on the 6 o'clock news.
Senator Clinton.
Well, I don't have enough time to tell you all the mistakes.
Representative Kucinich, this is from Ashley in Elgin, South Carolina. I am what I would consider a middle-class American. It is almost to the point where I am considering dropping my medical insurance because premiums are just too high. What are you planning to do to help Americans have affordable health care premiums?
Ashley, first of all, I want you to know that I live in the house that I live in right now that I bought in 1971 for $22,500. Connects me very strongly to middle-class communities. That's where I come from. The problem with our health care system, premiums, co-pays, and deductibles, which for-profit insurance companies run through the roof. I'm the co-sponsor. The Conyers-Kucinich bill, H.R. 676, provides for universal, not-for-profit health care, takes that $2.2 trillion and puts it all into health care for people. We are already paying for a universal system of health care. We're just not getting it.
The administration has done just the opposite.
Senator, thank you. Second show of hands question. Do you believe there is such a thing as a global war on terror? Let's try Congressman Kucinich. Why is your hand not up?
Because the fact of the matter is that the global war on terror has been a pretext for aggressive war. As President of the United States, I intend to take America in a different direction, rejecting war as an instrument of policy, reconnecting with the nations of the world so that we can address the real issues that affect security all over the globe and affect our security at home, getting rid of all nuclear weapons. The United States participating in the Chemical Weapons Convention, the Biological Weapons Convention, the Small Arms Treaty, the Landmine Treaty, joining the International Criminal Court, signing the Kyoto Climate Change Treaty. The world's waiting for an American president who reaches out in a hand of friendship and who understands this is a complex world, but doesn't see the world in terms of enemies. The minute that we have dichotomous thinking of us versus them, we lose the opportunity to be able to connect with people. I'd open up relations with Syria and Iran and all those nations that need the United States to say we want to talk. And I'd also put right on the front of the agenda peace between the Israelis and the Palestinians, because I can play an even-handed role in moving and reaching out to bring those peoples together.
Time has expired. Thank you, Congress. Show of hands. Is anyone on this stage willing to enter into Congressman Kucinich's effort to impeach Vice President Cheney? That being the response, Congressman, perhaps it's an appropriate question. Is this a proper use of public congressional time and energy?
This is a pocket copy of the Constitution which I carry with me, because I took an oath to defend the Constitution. We've spent a lot of time talking about Iraq here tonight and America's role in the world. This country was taken into war based on lies. This country was taken into war based on lies about weapons of mass destruction and al-Qaeda's role with respect to Iraq, which there wasn't one at the time we went in. I want to state that Mr. Cheney must be held accountable. He is already ginning up a cause for war against Iran. Now, we have to stand for this Constitution. We have to protect and defend this Constitution. And this Vice President has violated this Constitution. So I think that while my friends on the stage may not be ready to take this stand, the American people should know that there's at least one person running for president who wants to reconnect America with its goodness, with its greatness, with its highest principles, which currently are not being reflected by those who are in the White House.
Time has expired. Congressman, thank you. Senator Dodd, the state of Connecticut has legalized civil union.
Is to repair the kinds of challenges that we face.
Because you raised your hand, Senator Kucinich, 30 seconds for a rebuttal.
My good friend, Senator Obama, that's a very provocative statement. You previously said that all options are on the table with respect to Iran. And I think that it's important for people to reflect on the real meaning of that you're setting the stage for another war. I think it's important that we move away from global warring and global warring. And the connection is oil. We're in Iraq for oil. We're looking at attacking Iran for oil. And until we change our international policies, which quit using war as an instrument of policy and change our energy policies, we will continue to repeat this sorry cycle.